there, my name is Mackenzie, welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to do another mood and releases for July of 2021, so let's just get started. I do like to preface, and I do want to say that if you hear buzzing, whirring, it is a fan. I'm in the middle of a heat wave here in the middle of the desert, so I'm dying. Literally dying. Literally, figuratively dying. If you hear my fan, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna melt if I don't have it on. Let's just get started with the mood. So July is my birthday month. We're very excited. However, I am returning back to work. I have returned back to work. And so the panini is officially over for myself in my area. Things are pretty much opened back up. I have my own vaccination, and in my area, most of the people do as well. The masks are gone now, and I'm back at work. And now I have to balance my time. I'm still struggling balancing my time of working and also doing all the things that I like to do and new hobbies that I picked up over quarantine, like filming these videos. They're so fun for me, and I just feel like I haven't balanced my time very well. So in honor of all of that, the mood this month is imagination vacation. I thought of that phrasing and then I googled it to get some cute little graphic going for you guys, only to realize that it's already a children's book by Jamie Gigot, I believe is how it's pronounced. If not, please let me know. Really cute little book about how their family's always busy, but they can like make believe and make time for each other at home. And kind of the same situation here. I'm really busy. I don't really have time to take an actual vacation now that the panini is over. So I'm just going to take imaginary ones, diving into books that I really enjoy and escaping. A lot of the last 2, maybe 3 months mood has been focused on do not get into a reading slump, read the things you like to read, and don't get into a reading slump. It's just been the major goal these last couple of months. So let's just move on into the new releases that are coming out in July. I'm pretty excited. I had kind of a weird, strange situation happen to me. So I went through the usual websites that I go through looking for books and new releases for July, and I realized that I kind of avoided all YA romances like completely, and I don't know why, because as you know, maybe you don't know, but now you're gonna know that I've been listening to a lot of YA contemporary romances on audiobook like for the last 2 or 3 months now, and to not like even write down, I was just appalled at myself. So I went back through, grabbed some more YA romances and added them to the list, and now we're just gonna get going. So as always, I'm only gonna talk about books that are first in a series. There were a few books that came out this year. There were a few books that came out, or that are coming out in July, that are like sequels or like the third in a book, and they look super interesting, and it makes me want to go back and read the first, and maybe I might do that. But for now, we're just going to talk about first in a series or books that are a standalone coming out. We're starting with July 6th. The first book is If You Then Me by Yvonne Woon. This has a 4.10 on Goodreads. It is a YA romance, contemporary literature. So we have Zia, who is stuck in this lonely, boring loop of a life, and she has this online crush, and she has developed this own app herself, and then she kind of gets picked up by this like organization, like an app incubator, so it kind of seems like it's like a job-esque kind of thing, like maybe, I don't know. I don't understand tech. So after she gets there, things totally change. Like she starts dating someone else becomes her rival, and then she meets her idol, and things are kind of going great, and then she gets a message from her online crush saying that they are also at the same app incubator. And so we kind of get to see what happens from there. It kind of seems very interesting because it's definitely not like subject matter that I'm completely comfortable with. Like, I'm not sure what an app incubator is, but like, I'm interested, and the cover is very interesting. It almost doesn't seem like it matches the story that's going to happen, but I guess we'll see. The Empire's Ruin has a 4.45. It is a first in the series. This is an adult sci-fi fantasy. It's in the same world as Emperor's Blade series, which was published between 2014 and 2017. So it's been a little bit since the author returned to this world, and now they are with a brand new series. The story, this new one seems interesting in itself, and then the old story also seems interesting, but the first beginning of the summaries seem almost the same, where the Empire is disintegrating and things are happening. Chaos is brewing. So we have one character who is voyaging to the end of the world, and we have another character who is a monk turned con artist who holds the key to the gate. And it seems very interesting. It seems like maybe I could just jump into the world right here because the kingdom is disintegrating again, as I said, but it also seems like I might want to visit that old world as well. I'm always on the lookout for new, like, high fantasy series that I might want to get into, because a lot of them seem like they seem good, and then I hear a lot more about it, and it doesn't seem exactly something that I'm interested in, so I like to keep my ears to the ground about new things that might be coming out, especially with this being a series. The next book I want to talk about is Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson. It has a 4.33 on Goodreads. It's a YA contemporary romance. YA contemporary romance. It is also LGBTQ+. LGBTQ+. I can say words fast. Don't worry about it. So, Olivia is an expert at falling in love and also being dumped, and Tony is about to start college, but she's totally not ready because she just lost her father. And so both of these girls think that a weekend music festival is exactly what they need. And I love it. Give me a musical setting. A musical setting? No, a festival setting. That's what I meant to say. What We Devour by Lindsay Miller has a 3.70 on Goodreads. It is a YA fantasy romance, LGBTQ plus representation. So this one kind of seemed interesting. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. So we have Lorena, who holds secretly the power of banished gods within her. She's completely content hiding her power and also hiding away from the world, living a very, very boring life where she is engaged to her childhood friend until her childhood friend's father is taken by the crown, forced to trial for crimes basically that he did not commit. So she has to offer her powerful services to the crown prince in order to make sure that her fiance's father has a fair trial. So I have no idea where this could go. This could go in a million ways. It seems like there's good and evil and gods and politics, and I'm trying not to have too high of hopes for this, but it does seem pretty interesting, and if they could at least touch on a few of these things and do one or two of them very, very well, I think I could really enjoy it. Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian has a 3.95 on Goodreads. This is an adult fantasy retelling of King Arthur from the perspective of Elaine of Shalott. So I have no clue whatsoever of King Arthur, but with how many retellings have come out, I think Legendborn was a retelling, and now this one, and you know there's gonna be another one. It's very interesting how many retellings are coming out recently, but I'm really enjoying it. But I feel like I'd love to know the source material, or at least read them back to back, and that could really help me, and I could get more enjoyment from that. So like I said, we're following Elaine of Shalott, and we follow her before when she lives on the Isle of Avalon, and she sees all of these prophecies. And then the future comes calling, and all of her friends have to go to Camelot, and she realizes that threats are coming from everywhere, even from within her own circle. So like I said, I know nothing about the Arthur myth, so I can't tell you much about that, but I'm sure if you know about the Arthur myth, that means something to you here. Yes. It Ends in Fire by Andrew Schwartz has a 4.09 on Goodreads. It is a YA paranormal fantasy. So Alka is on a mission. Infiltrate Blackwater Academy, win the great game, burn the wizard school to the ground. All the while she's trying to recruit misfits into her rebel cause. Girl, what? Yes. Has a lot of my favorite things here. We have like magical school. We have wizard games. Tournament. Yes. We also have a rebellion. Yes, and where there's a rebellion, there's political intrigue, and it can be done very well or it can be done very poorly, and my fingers are crossed for doing it very, very well. It seems very exciting. I'm really excited for it. Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim has a 4.48 on Goodreads, and it is the first in a series, YA fantasy retelling. Shiori has forbidden magic within her veins, and after losing control, her stepmother witnesses that magic and tosses her out on her behind, turns her brothers into cranes, and tells her if you ever say anything, all the words that escape your mouth will kill your brothers. Okay, and then what? Tell me more. I'm intrigued. You've got me. Just tell me more. I'm excited. Where It All Lands by Jenny Wexton has a 3.90 YA contemporary romance. Told in a dual timeline, we follow Stevie, who's never had a friend and never fallen in love because she's moved around a lot. Totally relate. Until she meets two guys, Drew and Shane. And, like, I'm not sure if she meets them at the same time or at different times, but Drew and Shane are inseparable best friends, and they've been through everything together. And, yes, tell me more. Let's hear it, okay? The next couple of books I want to talk about are coming out on July. They're coming out on July 13th. We have A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This has a 4.49 on Goodreads and is the first in a series. Adult novella, sci-fi fantasy, speculative, LGBTQ+. It has been centuries since the robots of Panja had just, like, grew intelligence, got up and left their positions as being tools to humans, ran off into the wilds, and then they were never seen from again. Until one comes up to a monk and is like, hey, what does humanity need? And the answer varies person to person depending on who you ask. So it kind of feels like this, like if we didn't have technology for centuries, what would we possibly need if technology came back to us? And seems pretty interesting. Seems like it could pull on my heartstrings. Seems like it could make me think, and I'm always down for that. Radha and Jai's Recipe for Romance by Nisha Sharma. This is a 3.96 on Goodreads. YA contemporary romance. So this seems so cute. So a family betrayal costs Radha. I hope I'm saying her name right. I'm going to listen to it on audiobook, so eventually I'll know how to say her name correctly. But I believe it's Radha. A family betrayal costs her the biggest competition of her life. So she follows her stage mom and moves to New Jersey and decides that she's just going to completely reinvent herself and never dance again. And then Jay is the leader of the Bollywood Beats dance club, and he really wants to go to med school, doesn't have the money for med school, and then when he sees Radha, he decides that she is the key to his future and making it all happen. And you know what? Yes, I'm down for it. I love the dancing aspect. It seems so cute. I love that it's almost this Footloose situation where she's like, I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Up All Night, 13 stories between sunrise and sunset. This has multiple authors, has a 3.96 on Goodreads, YA anthology short story collection, contemporary romance. So we've got prom night, we've got ghost hunts, we've got heartbreak, breaking up, falling in love, and finding yourself. And it just seems so cute. We've got some notable authors on there like Nina LaCour, and I'm really trying to read more short story collections, anthologies, and I found a few that I'm really interested in. I just haven't pulled the trigger and actually bought them yet, but I've got my eye on this one. China Room by Sanjeev Sahota has a 4.08 on Goodreads. This is historical fiction. So, two characters seeking freedom for themselves. One is seeking to free themselves from the expectations of women in 20th century Punjab, and the other is trying to free themselves from the weight of life living in the Indian diaspora. So we have three women who are marrying three brothers in this ceremony, and it's a joint ceremony, and one of the brides is trying to figure out which one of the men is the husband that she just married. And that's kind of what got me, right? Okay, so I don't read a lot of like arranged marriages, and I definitely don't know a lot about the Indian diaspora. So I felt like this was something that I could read. It's kind of within almost a genre that I could be familiar with. It's not too far off of things out of my comfort zone, but it could also be something that could help me learn a little bit, and also maybe it's something that I enjoy, and who knows how sweet of a story this could be. July 20th. Curses by Leash McBride has a 4.14 on Goodreads. This is a YA fantasy romance retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but it's gender swapped. So we have Little Miss Princess, who has refused to marry the men that her mother wants her to and is therefore cursed until she marries the man that her mother wants her to. And then we also have Tevin, who is basically being used by his crime family, and when his mother gets caught up with the Beast, she sells her son to him, and he tries to help her find a husband, someone to marry. I'm down. I've never seen a gender-swapped version of Beauty and the Beast before, and I think I'm into it. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan has a 4.29 on Goodreads and is the first in a series. So this is a historical fiction, fantasy, LGBTQ plus retelling. Mulan meets Song of Achilles, and that's basically what drew me in. So this is a reimagining of the rise of the Emperor of the Ming Dynasty. So we follow a girl after her family has been killed, and she assumes the identity of her dead brother so that way she can kind of survive under the harsh Mongol rule of the time in China. I'm really interested in this. I want to see how much it's like Mulan. I love Mulan. I think Mulan was my favorite princess growing up, so I'm really excited to see where this goes. And I don't know too much about Asian history, and anytime I get to read about it, I'm really excited. And so I know this is like a reimagining, as if Song of Achilles style. So I'm kind of assuming it'll be pretty similar with some liberties taken, and I'm all for it. I think it'll be interesting, and I'm really excited. For Your Own Good by Samantha Dowling has a 4.12 on Goodreads and is an adult mystery thriller. So this one seems almost Dark Academia-esque. We follow a teacher who is the best, he was just voted Teacher of the Year at this esteemed academy. And he's just so frustrated with all of his colleagues and the nosy parents. He thinks he can do a greater job if all of the parents and all of these people just got out of his way. And then someone turns up murdered. And he's still everyone's in my way. Story ensues. That seems very interesting to me. And I'm really digging this Dark Academia vibe where it's we're at school and somebody was murdered. And these teachers are ridiculous. I like it. That's a vibe I can get on. And the last book I want to talk about is coming out on July 27th. It's called Red Wolf by Rachel Vincent. It has a 4.00 on Goodreads right now. YA fantasy retelling of Red Riding Hood. So we have this girl, Adele, who lives in their home village. It always has had this forest around it that's filled with monsters, and she belongs to a line of women who have always been guardians for this forest. They turn into wolves and guard their village from the monsters in the forest. Yes, please. I love it. Gender bend it. Give me a female werewolf. Let's see where it goes. I'm excited. I hope that one continues to be good and is received well. I hope it is good. Fingers crossed for all of these releases, hoping that they're good. Tell me down in the comments, are any of these books sound exciting to you, and what are you excited for that is coming up in July? And also, let me know what you're currently reading. I want to know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!